The 2018 had like the third best defense in the country that year. The 2018, the next year defense, 2019 or whatever, had the second best defense. I mean, the best defense in the country. After they lost all those NFL players. And they had Simmons, Steele, and Kendrick just converted from receiver over to cornerback. Who else I'm about to talk about? AJ Terrell was still there. Wallace went to the pro. Muse went to the pros. And Tyler Davis was a freshman. And my point is, Tyler Davis, if I read the article right, and I tried to look it up before I called you, Tyler Davis had better statistics his freshman year than Christian Wilkins and Dexter Lawrence did for their whole career, and William Perry, who was probably the three best defensive linemen to ever come to Clemson. So, and then I was looking at Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy played as a freshman, and where what's the guy that got drafted by the Raiders? Farrell. He was a redshirt freshman. He was a redshirt junior. I think he got to his senior year, so he had time to develop. Then you got Breezy. His freshman year was just as good as Dexter Lawrence's freshman year. Then we didn't even get a chance to talk about Kevin Henry on the defensive line, the defensive end, who was a 10th rated player coming out of high school out of Winston-Salem. Then we didn't get a chance to talk about Mascu, who was a redshirt junior next year. Jalen Thomas, you said this in your comments yesterday, this is his money year right here. He got to show out this year. So, you know, he's going to be hungry because he had COVID. His sophomore year, they switched to a 3-3-5 alignment, so he wasn't as successful. You got Foster coming back for the leadership. Who else to do it? And that defense is just loaded. I mean, I just don't realize. I don't think people realize how great that defensive line, that front seven has to be coming up this year. And another person that nobody's talking about is Malcolm Green. Go back and look at the end of the season, especially against Notre Dame. Look how much Malcolm Green played at that nickel position. I heard you talk about somebody playing nickel earlier today and how you have to be a good tackler playing that position or a good blitzer. Go look how good Malcolm Green played against Notre Dame. And then also Trent Simpson, who moved out Michael Jones. If you look at Michael Jones' career at Clemson, people have been talking about Michael Jones since he was a freshman. Then he got redshirted because he was taught behind Isaiah Simmons. I just look at how great that defense from front seven had to be because the midst of experience they have a coming back at the linebacker and the freshmen and sophomores that got a chance to play last year, really in the short season because of the COVID, and they didn't get an off season to train for the regular season. They were earlier enrollees. So that defense has a chance to be light out on paper next year. I know people say they question the secondary. You know, Booth was with a top 5-star. Then you got Goodrich. I think he was a 4 or 5. At the other corner, they played pretty good. Sherrington Jones does pretty good. I know you mentioned they had trouble at safety. Even when they had Muse at safety, they were getting burnt. Because, you know, everybody picked on Muse, even because he was a linebacker playing safety. And they got this kid that came out of Texas that everybody was going crazy over in the spring game, but he got hurt. Andre Makowska, he had been signed to Clemson since he was a freshman in high school. And he's a beast. And we still ain't talked about Brent Carter, who didn't get there till the summer. So that defense has a really good chance to be really, really good and special on the defensive line. And we haven't talked about how good what's my boy name is? Okacher out of Maryland and a couple other guys. And I know you mentioned that Alabama game. People don't really realize this Lawrence didn't play that game against Alabama or Notre Dame. And that defense was doing that. That 2018 did that and now they having all these 5 and 4 stars that got a chance to develop last year. That defense is going to be awesome.
Let me ask you this, DeAndre. When you state that Clemson had the best defense or the second best or the third best those seasons, what are you using to say that?
I'm looking at the stats.
So you're talking about
Western last year had the best defense.
You're talking about in yards per game. They ranked third in the nation or second or whatever.
Yeah, first. Yeah, 2019 was the first best defense. I know what LSU did against them, but they were the first best defense in the nation that year.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that because when people say this was the best defense or the third best defense, I just want to know what you're using to quantify that. Okay. You mean that they were ranked third in the nation in defense? Okay.
Right. What's it called? A defensive index thing? Like Northwestern was the best defense last year. The year that Clemson won the national championship in 2018, Mississippi State had the best defense in the country that year by the defensive index. So however they do their formulas,
okay,
that's what I was going
So you're using that. So that to me is more valid than yards per game. Okay, you're using the advanced metrics. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know how to say the proper word for it, but yeah, that's what I was using. I didn't know Western had the best defense last year by the advanced metric, and I think it was either Wisconsin or Indiana was second and Clemson was third, but they also didn't play the same amount of games too, so that has a lot to do with it too. But but that's what I'm saying. This defense on paper, with all the talent they were returning. So I don't think people remember this from last year. Mason Rudolph, whatever his brother name is, the Rudolph guy, didn't play last year. Foster didn't play because of COVID issues. Xavier Thomas missed a lot of time last year because of COVID and his asthma combined together. That was a bad combination. And then, like we said, Tyler Davis missed a whole lot of time last year. So those guys really, they didn't have that full defense. And I'm not saying they would have beat Ohio State and they would have played the full time. Ohio State was for that. But what I'm saying is that this defense coming back next year on paper has a better chance of being just as good, especially with the experience at linebacker that they're going to have next year. Now, the secondary is going to be an issue outside. I think the corners will be fine, but like you said, the safety, that's what you got to worry about. And like I said, Trent Simpson, came on strong as a freshman. And, Isaiah Simmons, he had to be redshirted to do what Simpson is doing now. So I can't wait to see that.